Hello everyone, Ryan Ponce with Compass, and today I'm going over the market update for downtown San Diego for January 2026. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I actually have a notepad, so if you see me looking down, I have a lot of numbers to go over. January was really slow for downtown San Diego, and I think in general in San Diego County. But I want to talk to you a little bit about like what's going on in the market and different segments of the market. So downtown San Diego only had 17 sales last month. That is, I think, the lowest amount I've ever seen. Keep in mind it is January, so a lot of the properties that are selling in January went into escrow in December, and December was a very slow month. So number of sales were down 41% when compared to the closings in December. Again, only 17 sales. Active listings in January went up to 234 active listings, which is an increase of 32%. That's a pretty big increase, but it's to be expected because going into the new year, a lot of people list in January, or there's a lot of relisted property as well. People that took property off during the holidays and then relisted. Speaking of relisted properties, about 28% of the listings that are on the market right now have been relisted over the last 30 days. So, a common thing that happens is property expires on December 31st and then gets relisted the first week or so of January. So about 28% of the properties that are on the market right now have been relisted. So days on market does not show very accurately if you were to pull average days on market. Currently, right now, there are 29 properties pending. That is an increase of about 80% compared to December. So again, December was really slow. The number of listings that went into contract in December was very low. And so in January, we saw that number pick up about 80%. Now it's only 29 listings, so it's not a whole lot, but it is an increase, pretty substantial increase when compared to December. One thing that I want to talk about that is very unique is the average sales price was at $1,135,000. Pretty high average sales price in downtown, especially given how slow the market is. The median sales price, though, was only $600,000, and I don't think I've ever seen that big of a discrepancy. Again, with only 17 sales, the numbers get skewed a little bit. They're not going to be as accurate. There's just not enough data, and so when you're pulling averages and median, the numbers just tend to not be as accurate. So what I do want to jump into is talk about the active listings right now. There's 234 active listings. Actually 235 when I pulled these numbers. There's 177 properties under $1 million right now on the market, and there's only 58 listings above $1 million. And then if you were to go to 1.5 million, there's only 28 options. And what that's saying in downtown San Diego is that there's a lot of properties that are kind of hitting the market under that $1 million mark, but inventory is actually moving okay in the higher price ranges. It's not super fast, but it's moving faster than the lower price ranges. You could see that with the average sales price being higher as well, over $1 million, that $1,135,000. There were two really large sales in January, over $4 million, so that brought up the average. But what I'm seeing is that above $1 million, $1.5 million view properties, and I've talked about this previously, those are still pretty popular, especially if they have a view, because second homes are still selling in downtown. And the lower price ranges are taking longer to sell, which historically is not the case. Typically, the lower price ranges move faster than the higher price ranges. So it is an interesting discrepancy when compared to, historical numbers. The last thing I'm going to talk about is inventory. Given that there are only 17 sales, this number is going to be dramatically higher because there's 234 listings. And with only 17 sales, we're at a 13.8 month supply of inventory. That's an increase of 125% in inventory in 1 month. Now, again, December, you have less listings. People pull their property off the market during the holidays. That, coupled with less sales in January, is going to really pull up that number for inventory. I'm expecting it to stabilize a little bit in next market update. Not 13.8 months. That's very high. That would suggest that it's a very strong buyer's market. Again, certain segments of the market are leaning towards buyers, or they're more balanced. There's not really a market that favors sellers right now in downtown San Diego, but it's not as dramatic of a buyer's market as those numbers would reflect. Anyway, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My name is Ryan Ponce. My number and email is at the end of this video. If you're seeing this on YouTube, there's a link in the description to go to the website, go to my website to see all of the stats and everything. Have a good day.